It is a tribute to the British men and women who went to Uganda and transformed the country in a manner which has made it possible for us today to talk of the independence of Uganda. This is in fulfillment of the British policy of trusteeship and of social and economic development, which aims at preparing colonial peoples for independence. At midnight tonight, Uganda shall become independent. We shall have a Uganda flag, a national anthem, and coat of arms. These will be our symbols, but independence does not begin and end with the selection and raising of a flag, the singing of a national anthem, and the display of a coat of arms. Our independence shall mean great responsibilities for all of us without exception. Collectively, we shall all be responsible to safeguard our independence and to ensure peace and stability within our country. In addition, the government in whose name I now speak offers to you a firm determination to protect your life and property and opportunities for your advancement. It is this ensuring of peace and stability and this determination for the protection of life and property, coupled with opportunities for advancement as individuals and as combinations and as a country, that I now call upon all to pass as an irrevocable resolution marking our new status and guiding us into the future. Let us add to that resolution that we are of Uganda and Uganda is ours.
Government handed over power. His presence was a culmination of a political alliance with the Kabaka Yeka party led by Edward Mutesa, the Kabaka of Buganda. However, 4 years later, this alliance would rupture.
Sir Edward Mutesa had been ruler of Buganda, the largest of the kingdoms which made up Uganda, and he was Milton Obote's choice for president of the newly independent country. But in 1966, Prime Minister Obote promoted himself to the presidency and moved to abolish the old kingdoms. He ordered an attack on the Kabaka's palace, led by a new army commander, Idi Amin.
Surrounded the Kabaka's palace on the hilltop outside Kampala, and the battle began. The palace fell at dusk. The Kabaka apparently had escaped, either before or during the fighting. Next day, the palace was set on fire. But in the Buganda countryside, the flame of rebellion is reported to be burning equally fiercely. On Friday, Dr. Obote called a press conference. President, have you any news of the whereabouts of the Kabaka?
First of all, may I intervene, Mr. President? If any of you would like to ask a question, could you give us your name and the member you represent or whatever organization you are representing?
Sandy Gall, Independent Television News, London. Mr. President, have you any news of the whereabouts of the Kabaka?
That question, I understand, has been asked already in the press and elsewhere. But I do not know why you should ask me that question now. But the most interesting thing is that the pressmen seem to think that the Kabaka has done nothing wrong. That it's only the government that has done wrong things. The Kabaka requested foreign troops in February without authority. The Kabaka organized a rebellion. And these are not noticed. But no problem, we'll always weather through.
It's been said that you'd like to put an end to the Kabakaship. Is that so?
It's not my problem to put an end to Kabakaship. We have 4 Kabakaships in Uganda. And it's not, I don't have to go for 1. If I wanted to put an end to Kabakaship, I would go for 4, not 1.
Do you expect the emergency to last much longer?
Until the situation comes to normal.
How would you describe the situation now?
Getting quiet. It was quiet yesterday, it's quiet today.
No fighting at the moment?
There hasn't been any fighting.
Except around the palace?
Around the palace there was no fighting.
What about the mortars and the rifles and the machine guns and so on?
Machine guns were in the palace. We have captured some. Guns were in the palace. We have captured some. We think others are still there, buried in the ground.
There have been reports of plans for resistance on the part of the Baganda and of leaflets being distributed. And this resistance, it said, may start on Monday, the original date of the ultimatum from the Kabaka to you. Do you have any knowledge of these reports?
We are prepared for anything. And my guess is that there won't be any resistance unless foreigners try to poke their noses into it. But we'll cut down their noses to shake.
Who do you think might intervene from outside?
I can't say anything. I don't want to mention any countries.
Have you any information about the casualties in the recent fighting around the palace?
I can't tell you that. But I'm informed that about 20 people lost their lives. About 20.
There have been suggestions that hundreds of people were killed.
I don't work on suggestions. I work on actual reports that come to be signed by appropriate officers.
And these are that about 20 people were killed in all, on both sides, on the side of the security forces?
Not a single security man was killed. Not a single.
What about outside the palace, in the countryside?
Another 20.
That's 40 altogether. So you discount reports that up to 1,000 people have been killed?
I am told the BBC said 1,000. Are you Mr. Hayes, Charles Hayes, by any way?
No, independent television. Dr. Obote said that only 40 people had been killed in the disturbances in Kampala and in the rest of Uganda. But nobody that I've talked to in Kampala believes this figure. In fact, the general impression is that the number of dead runs into several hundred, if not into several thousand. One reliable source gave me the figure of 1,700 dead. I talked to one African who lives just over the hill there, who said that he'd seen 3 lorry loads of bodies being driven away from his own village, and another African who reported seeing bodies being dumped in a mass grave near the prison at Port Bell on the shore of Lake Victoria.
President Obote, the Kabaka of Uganda has now been granted asylum in Britain a month after. Sir Edward has also said he would mete out the same sentence, that is the death sentence, to you if ever he gained power in Uganda. What do you say to this, Dr. Obote?
I think I can now say that that's up to the British government. It's probable that I may have to visit Britain on official duties, and if Sir Edward would be there at large,
to carry out his intention of killing persons, that will be the problem of the British government. But we're not talking about this in terms of killing of this man or that person, or this person. We are interested in building a united country, and our policy will not be persecution of any person. Our policy will be to build our own country, and we are not going to talk in terms of Sir Edward. We are going to talk in terms of Uganda. And secondly, we are not going to pursue a policy where everything we do must be attached to Sir Edward. I think I can say without any fear of contradiction that we have passed the stage of considering Sir Edward as a factor in Uganda politics. We will leave it at that.
On his arrival in Britain, Sir Edward endorsed the use of further violence by his 2 million Baganda subjects to oppose any attempts by you or your government to make Uganda a republic. Do you in fact anticipate more violence from Sir Edward's supporters in Uganda?
Whatever comes, we will deal with it.
And to continue using military force to govern Uganda when the entire kingdom is reportedly antagonistic to your rule?
There is no evidence that Buganda is antagonistic to the government's aims and objectives. There is no evidence whatsoever.
In Genesis chapter 1, where God began to make things happen, and things did happen in 7 days, it cannot work in a situation of this kind. Nation building is a long-term process. I'm not a murderer.
And who knows that the government and parliament exercise powers entrusted to them by the people, and that the same power must be exercised solely in the interest of the people. A good politician is one who respects the will of the people. A good politician is one who knows that at an election, the electorate have the power either to confirm the current representative or transfer their trust to another representative. A good politician Mr. Speaker, a good politician is one who works relentlessly for peace, prosperity, and goodwill. And as the distinguished American statesman Abraham Lincoln once said, works on the principle of malice towards none and charity to all. Mr. Speaker, a good politician, Mr. Speaker, sir, a good politician is one who knows that the interest of his country is paramount and all others are secondary. Mr. Speaker, a good politician is one who knows that party differences are secondary to national unity and security. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the prayer recited at the commencement of every sitting of this House, all honorable members are referred to as servants who have been called upon to perform important trusts in this land.
What has been entrusted to honorable members is also contained in the same prayer.
Leader of UPC for many years. Baganda have been members of that party for many years. Baganda have held the highest positions in that party. I was also head of your government for 9 years. And look at the type of ministry I used to set up. No discrimination either on tribe or on religion. Some of my most important ministers were either Baganda or Catholic. Let me mention only two. I had a minister of finance, a Muganda. He's sitting here behind me. Is that hatred for Baganda on my part? All of you people of Uganda, you love education next to your life. My minister of education was a Muganda. So what about the question of religion? My minister of defense was a Catholic. My minister of internal affairs was a Catholic. My minister of local government was a Catholic. My minister of finance was a Catholic. I can go on enumerating. I have no tribal feelings. I have no religious feelings. I come from a very big family. Some of them are Protestants. Some of them are Catholic. Some are Muslim. And in fact, I've got a cousin of mine whose name Mother Superior Bigulu. Now, these propagandists want me to tear off myself from my own people. When you talk about Baganda, I have got a Muganda wife. And my children are half Baganda and half Lango. How do I begin to hate myself? I am not part to all those things. Now, fellow citizens, I have not returned home with vengeance. I have no ill feelings towards anybody or towards any people. I want now to take this opportunity to ask all of you here, send a message to all others who are not able to come. There has been much destruction in Uganda. That destruction must end. Let us give forgiveness, but let us not forget what has happened. We must learn now to work together. We have the ability, and we have got the personnel and the material resources. We must stop petty bickering. And I give this pledge that in the forthcoming election, if the UPC is returned, we will treat the restoration of law and order and protection of our people and their property as the top priority. We are not a colony. We got our independence in 1962. There is no going back. Nobody has got the right to come and conduct things in our kitchen. Which Uganda lady here would allow a foreigner to go into her kitchen?
Well, I leave it to my own countrymen and women. If they want a difficult time, they will support these lawless elements. If they want stability, if they want rehabilitation, if they want peace, if they want prosperity, I call upon them not to support such persons, but to report them immediately so that the security forces can deal with them and deal with them quickly.
Lord, may Uganda do Jamaican.
I want to start with the obvious. This is a state occasion. It is not a party political rally.
Mani na tini ni na pile duong pe Uganda endo penino me kopelo lobo.
I therefore want to thank everyone who is here to receive and welcome our guests, the President of the Republic of Zambia.
Mumi ya miloni ya apo ngato ducho ameo bino kan kere chunya chil kere yombi megdaro we will wa President me Zambia.
I thank all of you people who have no parties.
Amiloni apo unduchu ameo bino kan.
I thank everybody else who is not a member of UPC. I thank most warmly all members of the UPC. And I greet you in the usual manner. UPC! 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 Everybody! UPC! Everybody!
Yo pese.
Everyone.
Yo pese.
All of us.
Yo pese.
And Gulu.
Yo pese.
And Kitgum.
Yo pese.
And Moyo.
Yo pese.
And Arua.
Yo pese.
And Nebe.
Yo pese.
And Apache.
Yo pese.
And Lira.
Yo pese.
Everybody.
Yo pese.
Everywhere.
Yo pese. Ana yo pese. Ana yo pese.
Ayu.
Ana yo pese.
Ayu.
Ana yo pese.
Au.
Ana yo pese. Yo pese.
The president of Zambia is a friend of all the people of Uganda.
Atel me Zambia tinti kanne obera wot wan lo alwa me Uganda kan.
He has been concerned about the welfare of the people of Uganda for many years.
En ngata no no fiye chwe trapi be wa me ko wa ilo woni en kare du ci pikaro kare ngi.
When all of us and all of you here were suffering, he was suffering with us and with you.
E kara wanti men no chan kan e karo kara no ken en no dan ti chwe kare chel kedwa.
His country,
no mere
his party,
his
government,
and
himself, they made tremendous contribution to our liberation. He is now here for a short but meaningful state visit. Now, what is a state visit?
Now,
this is a political rally. It is not a seminar. But a state visit is a different gathering from all other types of political rallies. A state visit can only be made by a head of state to another head of state. When citizens of Uganda go to Zambia, that is not a state visit. When officials or ministers exchange visits, those are not state visits. State visit connotes the image of a state. President Kaunda has brought the whole image of the people and the government and the authority and the sovereignty of Zambia to Uganda. President Kaunda it demands therefore that we also give him our total image, our sovereignty, our respect for Zambian sovereignty. Zambia. That is why I am exceedingly happy that in Soroti and in here, thousands upon thousands of jubilant Ugandans have come to pay due respect to the President of Zambia. Keep Gulu clean. And all you guests of Gulu from neighboring districts, keep also your districts clean. And you know the meaning of clean when I talk about it. You see, not long ago Uganda was in darkness. And go back, all of you are old enough, stretch your minds to January 1971. The UPC government was overthrown in a military coup. That government was a member of the Mulungushi Club.
Party the government no belo a member Mulunguzi Club
and the chairmanship of Mulunguzi Club, which never changes, is unique. United Independence Party of Zambia, of which President Kaunda is the president.
Alors, parmi les groupes, adonga me peo lao, obega adong President Kaunda, ametelo party me unique.
There were jubilations in that part of Uganda that UPC government had been overthrown.
E karamo yu party me achan ko elwa kan, yo kene kan economy la tek to twali yigi yom, teno yamo UPC lo.
They joined with Idi Amin.
Gino na nguo yonge Idi Amin yigi yom ata.
They were happy that UPC had been overthrown.
Yigi beli yomi UPC do yamo ko lo.
Do we need to be told what has happened since then?
Itamani do hobi po yu wiwa gino kima karishe.
We have the widows amongst us.
We have the
orphans amongst us.
We
have the destructions on roads, in schools and in hospitals. We have no water supplies. That was the result of that coup. And which party stood firm against to fight that terror? Only one. Only one. Tell me one leader of any party who fought it. I can parade here UPC leaders. So when I speak of cleanliness, I want you to understand what it means. Uganda must be clean. And can only be cleaned by a cleaned party. A party that believes in the unity of Uganda. A party that believes in the quality of the people of Uganda. A party that loves everybody in Uganda, respect of tribe and respect of religion. Look at our symbol. 5 fingers. The Catholic is there. Protestant is there. Women are there. Youth are there. Men are there. All tribes are there. We work together as 5 fingers. That is UPC. And that is the party that he has no support. Now, don't waste your time. Come to the Congress of all the people of Uganda. Congress means a gathering. All of us are meeting here. We're in a Congress. Come to the Congress of all the people. Let us build peace. Let us build unity. Let us build prosperity. Then we can give strength to Zambia. Zambia is in the front line fighting racist regime. Don't say that you are very far from Zambia. If Uganda is united, if Uganda is prosperous, we can give Zambia support. We need not send any soldier there. But our strength here, maintenance of our sovereignty here, make our voice stronger in the fora of nations. And we shall give Zambia strength. That is why President Kaunda on this visit will not bother you with visiting your cattle. And he doesn't want you to send anybody to fight in Zambia. He wants your unity here. He wants peace here. And he wants prosperity here. Then you will bear some little burden that Zambia is shouldering almost alone today. Fellow citizens, I bring you
akelligu,
a man with noble soul,
dana me chunye chilata,
the president of the Republic of Zambia.
me obeda president